here was a glue block. I used to have this faceplate put on here, and then on this side I glued up a bowl or something that I turned. I don't even remember for sure what it was. Now, it's got to the point where this is about ready to be tossed away, but I hate to waste wood. It's a beautiful wood, it's elm, and I really like the grain in elm. So I'm gonna put this back on the lathe. I've drilled a hole for my woodworm screw, and I'm gonna see if I can turn a little bowl rather than just throw this away. So I'll stick around and let's see if I can do that. All right, the first thing I want to do is just flatten the bottom, and then I'm going to check to see just how thick this blank actually is. I'm using my 3/8 inch bowl gouge and turning at 1000 RPM. I'm a little bit concerned with how much I have here because the hole for the woodworm screw is 3/4 of an inch thick. So I'm just lining up my depth gauge on the top, and I can measure to see just how thick the whole thing is, and it's just under 1.5 inches. I want to put a recess in the bottom to put my jaws into in expansion mode when I reverse chuck it. So I'm going to put that in there, and then I will start turning this, and I only want to make this at most 1/4 inch deep, or I'm going to end up making a funnel out of this. I want to make the recess 3 3/4 inch in diameter. Usually when I watch other people do this, they'll take their calipers, set it to that 3 3/4 inch, set it on here, and then try to make sure that the 2 points line up with the circle that's being drawn. So as this one is scratching the surface, this one will line up with that circle. I like to do it the opposite way. I do this to half of that 3 3/4 or 1 7/8, and then I hold this aimed at the very center, and that way it's likely going to be a little more accurate. I don't have to do it a second time. So I'm turning this at 500 RPM, and I just want to scribe a line. And that should give me my 3 3/4 inch. Looks right on to me. Now I'm going to use my parting tool to start cleaning out for this recess. Alright, that should be alright. I'll clean that up a little bit before I reverse it. Now I'm just going to start trying to shape the bowl here. You might remember that the screw holes are not very far from the edge here, so I don't want to make this too small or I'm going to end up with the bowl too thin. I also don't want to take too much off of here or I'll weaken it when I want to expand the jaws in there. That's chipped up pretty badly. I'm going to have to take some off of here and make this a little deeper. Alright, that's cleaned up a lot better. I'm just taking a little deeper here. All right, let's check this thickness again to see if it's changed much. I'm at 1 3/8 now. And this looks to be just about 1/8 of an inch, so I'm going to go a little deeper yet. And I think that should do it. I'm going to do some sanding here now, and I'll be back. Okay, I put these rings in here just for decoration, and I've started sanding. And I don't know if it's going to show up on the camera, but there are a couple of dots right there, another one right there. That's where the end of the screws were. They've just about come right through. So this bowl is not going to hold water unless I do something to fill, but anyway, that's how close I am to losing it. Now I'm just going to finish sanding the exterior of the bowl, and then I'll reverse chuck it. Well, this is sanded up beautifully, and I need to correct myself. I believe when I started this, I said this was elm, and I'm sure a number of people looked at it right away and said, no, that's not elm, this is ash. And it is, and I really love it. It's just beautiful. It's sanded up nice and smooth. So now I'm going to reverse it into here. Before I do that though, I'm going to drill a little recess to put my logo coin into. Now I have shown this many times, but I realize not everyone is likely to have seen it, so this is just a real quick look at putting a recess in here with a 15/16 inch bit, Forstner bit, and I'm turning it at 250 RPM. I don't like to turn faster because I do not want to overheat the bit. And that should be plenty deep enough for the recess. Get that logo coin in there. Now with it reversed, I'm going to be turning at 1000 RPM. Now I want to do something about these screw holes, so I think I'm just going to make a couple of small trenches there and try filling them with something. Still working on what. Well, that seems to be disguising this one. Let's see what I can do on the outside one. Alright, I'm going to see what I can fill those with. I'll be back. Whenever I fill something like this, I feel I have two choices. Number one, I can try to fill it with something that will match it so closely no one will even know it's there. Number two, put something in there contrasting so it's obvious. And I'm going to go with number two because trying to match up the grain on this ash would be virtually impossible. Now I've got some sawdust here I sanded quite a long time ago of walnut, and I think that'll work pretty well. So I'm just going to put a little on here, fill these grooves, and then I'll go around and put some thin CA in them. So I'll do this, and I'll come back and show you what I've come up with. Alright, I want to scrape all this excess out of here now. I'm going to be turning this at 1000 RPM and using this small Easy Wood scraper. And now, after doing the scraping and sanding, I put on 1 coat of sanding sealer, which is a 50-50 mixture of Zinsser seal coat and methyl hydrate. And now I'm putting on a first coat of wipe-on poly, minwax wipe-on poly. And this is a clear satin finish. I'm not a real big fan of the high gloss. So after this dries, I'll do another coat. Then I'm going to reverse chuck it, and I will do the bottom, taking care of the side here. I'll do the bottom, I'll sign and date it, put in my logo coin, and this one will be finished. And now I'm going to put the first coat of minwax wipe-on poly on the bottom. I'll do 2 or 3 on the bottom as well. And then I'll be back to show you the results. Well, I think this turned out to be a pretty good looking glue block after all. It's not perfect, it's not wonderful, and I'm sure I could do a better job on these rings now that I've done them once, got a little bit of a clue of what I'm doing. But I hope you enjoyed this. I know I did. And I sure think this beats throwing away the wood. Wood is too precious, it's too valuable, and it's disappearing on us. So I like to use whatever I can, whenever I can. Thanks for stopping in. Don't forget to subscribe. Have a great day in your shop and be safe. Take care now.